Hi there everybody, I'm JP and I'm a solo independent game creator, and I've been making some stuff lately with my ASCII art and animation tool, Playscii, which is also a game creation tool, and that's actually what I'm going to show you right now. So I've been doing a bunch of contract work lately. In addition to all the nice people giving me money on Patreon, I've been having to do some contract work to make enough to make ends meet, and it involves a lot of traveling, so I've been bringing my laptop around here, and so if you see me on a train or a plane somewhere, say hi. I'm probably working on Playscii, and what I'm showing you right now is an example game that is intended to show off a new feature that I added, that I've been adding in the past few weeks, which is rooms. Rooms are just ways of organizing your world, and it only shows you like one room at a time in the normal state. You can have no rooms in your game and everything will display, and here you can kind of see like what a world actually looks like when it's got multiple rooms and stuff. But I'm spoiling it, aren't I? So we'll go back to show only current room. And so yeah, we can move between different screens and have our world organized into different screens and have certain things only happen on given screens. These little arrow things are spawners, so I added like object spawners that fire when you enter a room, and that's what this little weirdo here is doing at the moment. They spawned from a spawner. And yeah, you can change the camera when you go into different rooms. You can put down a marker and have the camera change over to that, so you can have a world that feels like this is an ambient sound emitter, that arrow thing right there, and it plays an ambient sound when you're on the thing. And yeah, this is just something for this example game, which is going to be included with Playscii, that just sort of shows off all the different things you can do with rooms. I ran into this lock type thing here, and it says I need a key, and I can go through the little gap in the wall that I made in as debug, and then I can get that key, and I'm holding the key, and when I walk into it I can clear it, and I haven't actually made a room off in this direction yet, so that's something that I've got to add next. I guess another change with this is it used to be that game mode, you can toggle between game mode and art mode. In art mode you can paint all kinds of stuff and use different colors and all that sort of good stuff. And then in game mode you can put down objects and select them and move them around and tune their properties and stuff. You can change how quickly the player moves in a given direction, and that's cool. And then we can select some of these objects, and then we can say, hey, edit the art. And if y'all have watched one of these videos before and seen me demo it, then you know where I'm going with this. I can just make changes on the fly and see them reflected in real time, and that's cool. So this is a full game creation environment type thing. And yeah, we can open up different games that are in our games folder here. This is an earlier like ASCII converted Chrono Trigger example thing. This is the very first example game that I made that just has like different things happening in different parallax layers. And then here's good old Endless Ladder Climbing 2, which is up on itch.io. I released it about a month and a half ago. You can play that. But yeah, so game mode now has its own like menu, and you can do all sorts of things with that. Because yeah, like it was getting to be like I used to have like this little panel off to the left side, and there were just getting to be too many items there, and I was like, wait a minute, I've already implemented a menu bar with pull-down menus and keyboard shortcuts for pull-down menus and all this other stuff, so I might as well, integrate that more fully into it. And so now I've got a menu that is crammed wonderfully full, and I added that because I realized that for all this room stuff, you're managing kind of abstract connections between objects. Like a given object will have a camera marker, so you select this thing and say, oh, well, use this object's location for your camera point. And to be able to do that like effectively without just having everything live in code, I wanted to like build some UI. And Also, because I was working on a train a bunch, I didn't have, like, on my laptop, I didn't have space to, like, plug in a mouse. And so I got to doing, I was like, well, yeah, I kind of, in order to be productive in a laptop with no mouse environment, I should really, I should really get keyboard shortcut, get like keyboard-based editing working well. So I made a whole bunch of under the hood changes about how keyboard focus works. Like you can now switch keyboard focus between different things without using a mouse at all, or just minimally using a trackpad. And so yeah, now I can, like, if I've got different fields here and it's got the object list up, I can say, okay, well, use, use this other, when I hit enter, fill in the field with that, and then when I hit enter, those changes take effect, and I can observe my handiwork. So yeah, that's a bunch of the new stuff that I've done. Another awesome thing that happened is that a very nice person, Jason Buck, sent me a 2010 MacBook with NVIDIA graphics, which means that now I have a machine with which to generate Mac builds for Playscii. And the next release of Playscii that I put out, which is going to be 0.7.1, I hope to have a Mac app bundle. It works, like, if I sync all of my code and stuff, like it works out of the box, no problems. On Mac. The thing that I'm having trouble doing, and if you know a lot about PyInstaller or Mac app bundles or both, or just that general field of stuff, I could use some help here. I filed a bug on my Bitbucket where all my code is hosted for Playscii, and yeah, like, I've troubleshooted the problem in, like, I've spent a good few hours trying to make this work properly, but yeah, I just can't understand, I can't figure out why this isn't working. All the code that's mentioned here, you can sync it and try it out for yourself. If anybody could give me some help with that, I would be very grateful, because I know that there are people out there waiting for Mac builds of Playscii, and I would love to be able to provide those to you, given that the program basically works, and it's just like this packaging thing that's the one remaining thing. So hopefully I'll have that resolved very soon. I'm actually I switched over to using this very cool program that I just straight up didn't know about until recently, called PyInstaller. Previously I was using Py2exe for the Windows builds of Playscii. Then I was like, oh, PyInstaller is way newer and supports, like, Windows, Mac, and Linux, and is a lot nicer, and is currently being maintained and works with a bunch of stuff. I get the impression that I'm still running into, like, something that PyInstaller doesn't support here, but it's probably pretty close. So yeah, that's a bunch of what I've been working on. Like, yeah, I was doing the Mac stuff for a while, and then I've been doing all this stuff with rooms. Like I said, this example game here called Maze is going to be included with Playscii. It's already in the in the builds, and in the source thing, like, and it'll be in the next release build. And yeah, it's going to show off, like, a few different things pertaining to rooms and object interaction. It'll kind of be like the most comprehensive tutorial yet for how to make a game with Playscii's game mode. I still haven't done a big documentation pass on that yet. I really want to. Like, that's like getting auto-generated docs so you can see, like, what all the different Python members are and all that, as well as just, like, high-level concepts like what's a game object and how do I bootstrap from nothing into having a little game world, because I realize that those things are completely undocumented at the moment, unless you're intrepid enough to just kind of, like, dig into my example files and, take apart the stuff, which is pretty easy to follow. Like, you can see you can see, like, for the maze game, like, this is all just pretty normal Python code here, like, for doing stuff like picking up that key when you run into it. It's real simple, and it's really all just extending the stuff that's in the base game object class. So, that stuff is pretty close, and it's certainly, like, it's good enough that I would use it for, that I would be able to use it for a game jam type thing. Anyway, so yeah, that maze game is it's an example game. It's coming soon. There's a non-example kind of real game that I want to make with it that I figure is probably going to take me like a month or two, and I don't want to say anything about that yet, but it's sort of, like, I intentionally, even though obviously this is like, this fancy OpenGL accelerated kind of game system that I've got here. I'm doing something that's like very old school looking and ZZT like, and that's because the game that I want to make with it is very ZZT like, but does a few different things using this tech that I've made. So that's exciting, and I don't want to tease it anymore really. Aside from that, yeah, Mac stuff, rooms, UI. I've also I forget if I covered this in last update, in my last video update. So apologies if so. You can just skip over this. But I made a page on my website for the game tourism stuff. This is, I mean, the site explains it pretty well, so I'm not going to repeat anything that's said there. But yeah, vectorpoem.com/tourism, and it's got entries for a whole bunch of different games about that tell you how to activate a mode or cheat your way to a state in this game, or in some cases download a mod that I've made that will remove the combat. So that if y'all have seen other things on my YouTube channel here, I did a playthrough of Unreal Gold, like the original Unreal from 1998, with this experimental tourism mod type thing that just removes all of the enemies, but still lets you walk around and kind of experience most of what that game has to offer. So I've done a few more such mods in the meantime. I did a mod for the first two Thief games, and that works pretty well. It doesn't actually remove the enemies, it just deactivates any and all aggression, so you can just be like chilling out with all the guards that normally want to kill you. I did a mod for Deus Ex that works similarly, like everybody's still around, they'll just never be mad at you. So that's cool. I did a mod in Playscii for Quake, and what I want to do is pretty soon is stream some of these, because I think some of these levels are pretty interesting to walk around when you don't have to worry about combat or anything. Anyway, game tourism is a thing that I remain interested in and committed to, and you can check out this page on my site and link it around to people you think might be interested, and I give kind of an artsy-fartsy explanation for why I think it's interesting or worthwhile. So yeah, that's another thing that I've been doing, and like I said, I hope to have a bit of spare time in the evenings and stuff to stream this with, to stream some games doing tourism. If you know of any, if there are any games that you know of that have an easy way to activate a tourism mode, please email me or hit me up on Twitter or something, because I'd love to be able to grow this list of games that I've got info for here. And yeah, I think that's about all I've got. Yeah, this contracting stuff I'm doing, like, it's been pretty good. Like, there's been a lot of commuting and traveling, and I've been able to reclaim a lot of that by working on my laptop, and I'm very grateful to be able to do that. That's super cool. Yeah, it's still, I've been worried about my productivity while I'm doing this other stuff that, is bringing in some money, but also kind of, taking away a lot of the main part of the day's energy. But I've been doing pretty well so far. I've made that, like, if you look at the code commits and stuff like that I've done, I've done pretty well for it so far. And yeah, I think pretty soon I'll have this example game done, and then I'll be on to working on a game that's going to be a little more secret until it's far along or I can finish it or something. But yeah, I'm pretty optimistic. Like, yeah, I felt bad having to take this contract work when people are already, like, giving me money on Patreon, and I really appreciate that. It's really, like, the reason I was able to do it full-time for so long, and I think without those folks' support, Playscii probably wouldn't exist. But yeah, I think I've been pretty productive without it, so hopefully you're still getting your money's worth, or however you think of that value proposition. Anyway, yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope to have Playscii 0.7.1 build out real soon now for Windows, Mac, and Linux. And it'll have this little example game with it. I'll probably do some more work on that to make it like a fully formed, you go here and then you get this quest and then you go and do this thing. It's only going to be a couple more screens than what I showed you here, but it should be cool. And yeah, I think that's about all I've got. That's cool. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this, and thank you very much for your continued support on Patreon and on social media, just talking about my stuff. Yeah, thank you very much, and I hope to do another one of these real soon. And look for my tourism streams in the meantime. So thanks, and have a good day.